Hello, Angelo from the Swim Review channel, here again with two reviews, two new movies that I've seen. The first movie is called Bones and All. The second movie is called Netflix's Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery. Lukewarm on both of these movies. The first movie I'll review is Bones and All. Spoiler-free review. This is another movie that everyone's probably going to like a lot more than me. It's all artistic, and it has long shots. It was an okay movie. It was kind of a horror movie. It was a little intense at times. And it was a love story. This is from the director of Call Me By Your Name, which is a movie I've never seen. I've never seen Suspiria, the remake. This is the first movie by this director that I've ever seen, and I'm not that impressed. Alright, spoiler review. So this movie starts out pretty good. It's got an hour or so that's pretty good. Pretty intense. It just kind of puts you right in the middle of the action. You don't know what's going on. This girl starts eating people. Her father abandons her and she starts going on a road trip. She's hit like cannibal maturity. She has the mental illness of cannibalism passed down from her mother. And in that sense, it's a lot like the French horror movie Raw. I guess this is based on a book. I don't know what came first. So she can start smelling other eaters, and other eaters start smelling her. She's giving off that mature eater scent. After her father abandons her, we're introduced to a character played by the BFG himself, Mark Rylance. This character starts out as one of the best parts of the movie, and he ends up as one of the worst parts of the movie. He's threatening and weird. He tries to come across to our protagonist as like a role model that she can look up to, and you'll help her along with her eating mental illness. And they eat a body together, and it gets all creepy, and she ends up abandoning him. And she meets a character played by Timothée Chalamet, and he becomes a love interest for our protagonist, played by an actress by the name of Taylor Russell. I have no problem with Timothée Chalamet's character, but this is where the movie starts getting kind of boring, repetitive, and monotonous. It becomes more of a love story than a coming-of-age story or a horror movie, and it kind of stays in that mode. But that's not the only thing that kills it. First, there's the scene with Chloe Sevigny as our protagonist's mother. So our protagonist, abandoned by her father, mother's been out of the picture for some time. The illness came from the mother's side. The protagonist is looking for the mother for the truth. She finds the mother locked up inside of an asylum, and she's chewed off both of her arms, and she can't speak anymore because she's so dumb, or whatever, so crazy. And the nurse in charge is like, oh, but she left this letter for you. So our protagonist reads the letter. The letter ends with something like, our pain is too much to bear, so I'm going to take you out of this world now. And then there's a jump scare where Chloe Sevigny attacks the protagonist. So this woman has been sitting here for decades with this jump scare written into this letter. It's ridiculous. And of course, it doesn't work, and she gets subdued by the nurse, and the Taylor Russell hero character escapes. I had my doubts about the movie up until that point, and that kind of sealed the deal for me. This isn't my favorite movie in the world. And then it gets even worse because her and Timothée Chalamet have a falling out, and then it's revealed that the Mark Rylance character has been stalking the hero character, Taylor Russell, the entire movie. I wanted him to come back into the story in some way, and I wanted him to be a bad guy. But the way they go about doing it is just, it takes all of the intimidating aspects of the character away because it makes him too much of a one-dimensional villain. He stops being an intimidating character and he just is a nuisance that they have to put to death. I feel like they could have done a lot more with that. That's how the movie ends. He kills Timothée Chalamet's character, and then Timothée Chalamet says to the protagonist, I want you to eat me, bones and all. And then it ends. Tragic end to a very contrived, melodramatic, twee, folksy, cannibal love story. I like the horror aspects of the movie the most. Alright, next movie. This is another Netflix movie after Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. The horribly titled Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, a sequel to Knives Out, from writer-director Rian Johnson once again. Spoiler-free review. I was a Rian Johnson appreciator when Knives Out came out, and I went into that movie and I enjoyed it. I like Brick. I like The Brothers Bloom. And I like Looper. I'd never seen Star Wars. And Knives Out I thought was pretty good, but it didn't really hold up well for me on repeated viewings. This sequel is about as good as Knives Out. It's bigger and stupider and a lot more of the same. I don't like that it's on Netflix. I saw it in a theater with a bunch of people, and they all seemed really happy. They were laughing the whole time. They thought this was a really silly, funny, good time at the movies. Maybe. They seemed bored a little bit. Alright, spoiler review. So yeah, Knives Out. You got classic mystery, whodunit, and you got Daniel Craig as Inspector, and you've got social justice issues, a minority woman versus capitalists. This movie checks off all those boxes. It's got cringe meme humor. It's got a bunch of pandering crap that'll make audiences clap. It's got a bunch of contrived plot twists that will surprise people the first time they watch the movie, and they'll never see it again. It's got crazy Southland Tales type science fiction elements that involve alternative fuel, which the first one didn't have. I don't know why I'm including that in this list. This movie, I thought a lot of it was funny, and I thought it was about as entertaining as Knives Out. I didn't have any problem watching it. Like Knives Out, I'm not anxious to go back and revisit it, and I don't think it will be nearly as fun to watch the second time. I don't like the title. I feel like maybe they should have called it Glass Onion, an Inspector Daniel Craig movie, or maybe just Glass Onion. But this movie seems like it's selling some tickets, and I don't think it'd be selling those tickets if it wasn't called a Knives Out mystery, so it's a catch-22. I don't care either way, because this isn't really my favorite movie. Two movies, not my favorites.